Players will be eligible to make well over $70 to $80 to $100 million a year. Again, Adam Silver is battling multiple fronts. As right here, we're going to get into the more nuanced part with the NBA media kind of pocket watching some of the players, as guys will be making well over $80 million a year that are not considered top 5 players in the league. And initially, as this begins to roll out starting next season, there will be a gap as far as fans and media members trying to understand, why is this guy making all this money? Jalen Brunson being one of those players that will be eligible for a nice hefty pay. But check out right here, as a local New York media personality questions if the Knicks should give Jalen Brunson that large amount of money.
Yo, the star player on my favorite team, Jalen Brunson on the Knicks. Interesting story today in the paper. Jalen Brunson, actually Vanity Fair, I think is where it came from. Pardon me on that. His contract's going to slowly come up. Yeah. And obviously he took a hometown discount, his last deal with the New York Knicks. So the Knicks go out there and make some other deals, sign some other guys. He said, quote unquote, I hope that they'll do right by me. So let me define for you what choices the Knicks and Jalen Brunson are going to have. And I'm going to tell you, despite the fact that I'm a diehard Knicks fan, which you know, I find this to be objectionable. Okay. So let me just give you the facts first, and then we'll get into it, okay? So Jalen Brunson, in 2028, so after next season, he could sign a 4-year contract with the New York Knicks for a max total of $323 million. Yes. So that comes out to be ballpark 60 some odd million dollars a year. Right. Do I have the numbers right on that?
Yes. Now the reason is because with NBC back, the TV number went up and the players get a percentage of that total.
I apologize. 4 years to a 323 is over $70 million a year. I apologize for it.
It'll go up as the years go.
It's actually, boy, my math sucks today. It's actually $80 million a year. Okay, that's so if he decides to redo his deal.
Damn, the number is so high, Craig is fucking it up multiple times because he probably couldn't believe it was actually more than the 70. But this is the part of the segment where we kind of get more into the CBA, because guys like Luka, SGA, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they're set up to make well over $90 to $100 million a year as the cap keeps going up by 10% every single season.
Let's just start fresh, yeah? If Jalen Brunson redoes his deal in 2028, it is a 4-year deal, $323 million. That's $80 million a year.
That's right.
If Jalen Brunson decides to wait till 2029, then he gets a 5-year deal for $418 million, the same $80 million a year, just over, okay? Yeah. Now, I love the New York Knicks. Obviously, I love Jalen Brunson and what he has brought to the New York Knicks, making them a legitimate contender. He gets all the credit for that. And, of course, Leon Rose for putting great pieces around him. But I cannot sit here today and tell you that we should be paying a basketball player, even my best player, $80 million a year.
Now, Craig, I'm going to have to stop you right there. That $80 million a year is definitely what Brunson is worth, because that number is calculated off the percentage of how much the cap is going to go up based off of the television revenue. This right here is where there's going to be a gap between a lot of media members and the fans. If Jalen Brunson is eligible for 80, imagine how much money Luka will be eligible for. Or even a guy like SGA, where he can extend, I believe, about 2 years earlier, even after he starts this new deal that will kick in, I believe, next season. Once again, because of this brand new television deal, you're going to have players making well over $95 million a year, up to 100. Best believe the pocket watching, it's going to get real.
I can't make that make sense. And I'm not saying he hasn't earned it. I'm not saying based on the current landscape and the finances of basketball that if other guys are going to get those kinds of contracts, then yes, Jalen Brunson deserves that type of contract because his peers are getting those types of contracts. But if you try to figure out, as we've all done through the NBA All-Star break, how do we make basketball better? How do we, quote-unquote, fix basketball? I have to tell you this. As a diehard fan of basketball, as a guy that was referred to as a basketball aficionado by the great Joe Dumars.
Mediocre Joe Dumars.
Okay, the great Joe Dumars.
Mediocre Joe Dumars.
I can't defend. I can't. Giving Jalen Brunson 5 years, $418 million. I can't. Now, I'd rather have him than not have him. I'm not trading him, obviously. And I know the Knicks are going to give him that deal unless he goes for the earlier deal, which is 4 years, $323, still $80 million a year.
Yeah.
My mind doesn't work.
Now, with him saying that his mind doesn't work, Adam Silver is going to have to battle another perception that the league is nothing but guys chucking up threes and they're making well over $80 million a year. And also the narrative of them just not caring during the regular season. This is why the league implemented that 65-game rule, because they don't want fans to have any animosity towards players knowing that they're resting games where they could really play and they're earning well over $80 million a year. Some of them, matter of fact, might be earning almost $1 million a game.
Can't wrap my head around giving a basketball player $80 million a year. And I want to be clear about this because I know it's going to happen. The haters are going to come out.
Deservedly so,
based on the current landscape, Jalen Brunson deserves every penny of either one of those two deals.
Yeah.
He has earned it. He deserves it. But we're being crazy, folks. We're being crazy if we're now going to pay our basketball players $80 million a year and then encourage them. Now, Jalen does not take advantage of this, so it's a little bit different. Encourage them to take 18 games off every single year and only play 65 games. I'm sorry. It is a problem with the sport. The finances of the sport are broken.
No, Craig, they are not broken. The league is eating really good based off of Amazon and NBC's bid. But this is where the disconnect is, because right now, the economy, the way it is, and the fact that all sports leagues will need the support of their local fans, there will be a disconnect if they start to see guys take too many games off. Again, Adam Silver is fighting multiple fronts all at the same time. Wait till Laker fans find out they're going to have to be paying Luka almost $100 million a year, and he can't stay in shape.
You can't give a guy $80 million a year to play 65 games in the NBA.
Why?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but why?
Because
you haven't
it's
said
crazy.
Why. No. See, this is why.
Because my ticket prices are too high.
No, they're
and
not too high.
My ticket prices are too high.
Then blame the owners.
We're giving out deals like
that.
that.
No, they're not high because of that. That's a lie. Do not listen to Craig Carton about that.
He's right. The ticket prices are not high for that reason. The NBA players are getting those large contracts, once again, because of NBC and Amazon's bid to get the rights to the NBA. But this money is not guaranteed, especially coming from the big tech companies going forward. Unlike the broadcast companies, the NBA is only a portion of their business. Amazon and Netflix, they do music, stand-up comedies, pay-per-view fights, or just boxing fights, WrestleMania. They're not in the business of an 82-game regular season and just having a bunch of inventory like Major League Baseball, diluting the overall fan experience on the platform.
Good.
That's not true.
Why do you think ticket prices are
high? Because
high?
the TV deal. This is simple. Do not listen to Craig Carton. Everything Craig said was wrong.
Owners make money
every
on the
word
TV
he said
deal.
was wrong. The TV deal. And the players get a percentage. Therefore, when the players were making $20 million at the max, it was because the TV deal, not the tickets. The TV deal, had nothing to do with tickets. They could give free tickets away. The money wouldn't change at all. Do not listen to Craig about this.
I have to be right.
No, you're not. The truth of the matter is, all this is they bring in revenue.
Yes.
The league brings in a certain amount.
And the players get more than half the revenue.
And they get 51% of the
more
revenue.
than half.
Okay? That's the way the deal was set. That was negotiated.
Okay.
They also put in, basically with the second apron, a hard cap to spread that money around the whole league. What Craig Carton just said is not, don't pay the players, pay the owner. Yes, you are. Craig, if Craig, stop.
I can't give a guy $80 million to play basketball.
No. If you don't give him that money, where's the money go?
I suppose that it would stay in the owner's pocket.
Right. So what Craig Carton just announced, everybody, is he wants 30 billionaires to get all the money, and the players you actually watch play to not get the money.
Craig is not the only one that feels that way. It's very unfortunate, but Tyrone Johnson right here spitting facts about the money not necessarily changing if the owners gave away the tickets for free. But I don't know what it is, if it's animosity Unfortunately, the fans always tend to side with the owners when it comes to money and not the players. Something I never understood, because the players within these mini sports leagues, they are the underdogs. Just because they get $20-30 million a year, whatever it is, make no mistake about it, the owner and the evaluation of the team is making almost 5 times that. A perfect example is when LeBron James exercised his right to enter free agency and go to the Miami Heat. But yet we don't see the same energy when teams ship away certain players, not only to go under the cap and not pay luxury tax, but they also start to tank starting in the beginning of some of these seasons. It's a very strange dynamic, but when it comes to sports and just the overall players, the fans tend not to side with them when it comes to money.
The percentage is the same.
Let me ask you a question. You're a small business owner, right?
Yeah.
Should you be allowed to make money, or should the people that work for you make all the money?
They should. What? The owners are poor now. This was negotiated. If I sit down and negotiate with.
See that right there? The owners are poor now. Subconsciously, I don't get it, but the fans side with the owners when it comes to money in the sports leagues. It makes no sense. But this very same situation in any other aspect, when it comes to just everyday life, it could be a company like Walmart, they side with the workers.
Should you be allowed to make money, or should the people that work for you make all the money?
They should. What? The owners are poor now. This was negotiated. If I sit down and negotiate with the cleaner of the department, right? And I say, I'm getting this amount, you get percentage. So right now it's $100.
Yes.
Right? So right now I get $49, and all of you,
so as a business
just
owner, I'm just asking you, would you have signed up, you busted your ass to build a business, right? Would you have signed up to give your employees more money than you get?
Yes. So in this scenario, I absolutely would for this reason. No, it's not bad business. If I get $49 and 15 people split $51, so then it becomes $1 million.
Okay.
And it's 4.9. That's what you're saying doesn't make sense.
I don't think any player should get $80 million a year.
Yeah.
And that's the problem right there, Craig. That is a problem. The owner not only benefits from the evaluation of the franchise going up, but he also earns more than what the top player makes on the team, and he gets to leverage being the owner of the team to get into other businesses. We've seen Joe Lacob do that with the Golden State Warriors. They're into real estate. They even collect commercial rents. They got restaurants. The Golden State Warriors don't have to play in that stadium in order for them to make money. So no, the owners could leverage this team and make money off of it in ways the players never can. Matter of fact, what's going to be the net worth of the Golden State Warriors if Stephen Curry was no longer on the team? That's something that never gets talked about, because LeBron James, when he did return to Cleveland back in 2014, the net worth of that team jumped very significantly.
But that's just an arbitrary thing. Yeah, that's an arbitrary thing,
And I think
though.
here's the deal. And the reason I want to be very clear
about, you're preying on people who don't who make $50,000, and rather than help educate them, you're preying on them because they don't make $80 million.
Well, I know it costs $250 to go to a game to see my favorite team play.
Yeah, that's because the Garden's expensive.
I know it costs almost $200 for you to see your favorite team play in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I know you're upset with your owner right now, and I understand why.
Because he doesn't spend money.
For another day.
Yeah.
But here's the bottom line. We are living in a bat-poop crazy world. If we're encouraging guys not to play all 82, and we're giving them $80 million a year, and we're also saying to them, yes, we're giving you $80 million a year in this case, and we're telling you, you don't have to play in every single game.
You see what Craig just said right there? We're encouraging players to play only 65 games, which is not true. But again, Adam Silver is fighting multiple fronts right here, because the narrative is players do not care about the regular season. And now fans are going to see guys are making $80, $100 million a year, sitting out certain games, making just barely under $1 million for that very same game. The optics for the everyday fan is not really good, especially in this current day economy.
You can't make that make sense. You can't tell me as the owner that I've got to pay you more than half of my total revenue, but you don't have to play in all my games. Because how is that fair to me? And I'm a player guy. But if I'm telling my players that they can take essentially 25% of their annual workload off and they don't take a hit financially, how is that equitable? Now, if you told me that I'm going to pay you $80 million a year, but I'm going to get you to play all 82 games, and people that come to the games get to see the best player who's making the most money, that's a much better argument. But players that are making 50, 60, 70, now $80 million a year also don't have the respect of the owner or the fans to show up and play all 82 games.
Respect to the owner?
Make that make sense.
Why the hell do I give a damn about the respect of an owner?
Because he's putting money in your pocket.
Man,
that's
that
why.
owner, all these current owners, all these guys that were given money by their pappies,
not
get
all
the
of them.
hell out of here. All of them right now.
Mark Cuban didn't inherit any money.
Okay, he's not an owner anymore.
Okay, well,
he's not an owner anymore.
He's about to buy back
he's not an owner anymore.
He's about to buy back
also,
in.
it's 50-50 split, by the way, with it can go to 51% depending on spending.
So I'm asking you a question.
Yeah.
Don't you think it's appropriate for me as the owner to say to you, the player, I'm happy to give you the money, but you actually have to play? Is that not a fair comment?
No. Why do players sit out? Why do players sit out?
Because
no,
they're
tell the
soft.
truth. No.
Because they're
no,
lazy.
No, they sit out because the only thing that matters to fans is the championship. The fans don't care about games in February except when players don't play. When they win them, they don't care. They use it as a way to bludgeon the players. That's a fact. I didn't state an opinion.
You know how many times you've taken phone calls, Nia, from people saying, I saved up all my money to go to that one game
to
see my favorite player play.
I've never heard that.
And Joel Embiid's on the bench.
I've never heard that.
Well, then you're living your head in the sand.
That's a fake thing.
Then you need to get back on the radio to take those calls. We can take them here if you want, but that's shameful of you.
Right there, you're hearing multiple narratives that Adam Silver does have to fight. The financials of the league have become very complicated with the second apron and just the overall rules. Fans now have to kind of be financially savvy to even understand how the cap even works. That's something that I have not been in agreement with the NBA, just structurally making it more difficult for the everyday fan to follow. And this is on top of just their games being on multiple streaming services. So right there, it's already hard to follow. But we'll see. There's so many layers to this. We didn't even get into the gambling side of it. Just guys kind of fucking around with the prop bets. Things are all over the place, but the cash flow, it's working. It's hitting right. And with the fans just having much more options than in previous years. And we're not even talking about the younger fans. We're talking about anywhere from the older fans that have been around for the glory days of Larry Bird versus Magic, another generation that's been around for Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, LeBron James's earlier years. They actually have more options too today. They don't have to log into 5 streaming services to catch the NBA. But we'll see. The veil to all these different layers is definitely going to be unfolding as more time goes on. And I will be doing more of a follow-up on these type of nuances.